When we are finding ourselves in hard times, baby, the first thing that go out the window is that gym schedule. Baby, I'm not going to the gym today. I got to pay bills and I ain't got the money. Hi, my loves. So I am currently reading a book. I'm actually rereading it, but this book is so amazing, to the point it's a part in it that I want to share with you all and just elaborate further on. So if you're wanting to know, the book is called Outwitting the Devil. This is by Napoleon Hill. If you have never read this book, please go get you a copy and get into it. But this is a part of the book that I was like mind blown about. And I am going to paraphrase it a little bit because it was actually longer than this, but I'm going to pull out what I got from it and then elaborate on it. So in the book, the author said, the cause of success makes itself known at times of unusual emergency, when men are forced through adversity and temporary defeat to change their habits and to think their way out of difficulty. Y'all, when I tell y'all, that resonated with me so much, and we're going to break that down, okay? So the reason why I really love that particular quote in the book is because a lot of times we find ourselves wondering, like, how do you become successful? Like, I don't care what nobody say. That is like one of the main questions that we as humans ask, because we want to live a successful life. I don't really know anybody who does not want or do not desire to live a successful life. And so when you think about it, most people don't really know how to become successful. But when I read that, it made me realize a lot of moments where I felt success, it was because I was met with a problem that literally I had to think my way out of difficulty. Now, you might be thinking like, well, how am I going to think my way out of difficulty if I'm already in a tough situation? And I'm glad you asked. So from experience, I have learned the very first thing you need to do when you find yourself in a very difficult moment, it does not matter what point of life you're in, whether it's a financial difficulty, whether it's, a health problem, whether it's family matters, regardless of what it is, you can think your way through it. But the first rule and the first thing you need to do is not come at the situation from an emotional standpoint. That's rule number one. You cannot fix a problem from an emotional standpoint. You have to think logically. And when you are in your emotions and your emotions are heavy on a situation, you will never be able to use logic. Every decision that you make out of emotions will literally just blow the problem up. And I'm saying that because I know. Trust me, I know for a fact. So it's like the first thing you need to do is calm your nervous system, regulate your nervous system, and calm your emotions down. Do not make especially difficult decisions from an emotional standpoint. I'll give you an example why. So I will never forget, I had a time where I was in a financial bind. Like, I had a bill due, finances was looking crazy, and the first thing that I thought was, like, my emotions were high. I'm thinking like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? Like, I don't got nobody I can call. I don't got all of the options that I could think of at that point in time, they were exhausted. It was nothing that I could do in that moment. And so instead of me trying to fix the situation from a logical standpoint, I immediately, baby, I'm just a girl. So I immediately went into my emotions, and every decision that I was able, or every solution that I was able to think of, was from an emotional standpoint. And it was literally the worst decisions I could think of. So to just put y'all in my business a little bit, I'm not one to do that, but I'll just give you a little insight because I know this will help somebody. And this is also a situation that I was able to overcome. So you can't really learn much if you don't know much. So I'll give you a little depth. At the time, I'm dealing with a financial strain, and I have a bill due. We all know when bills are due, it's literally a time crunch, baby. And that time crunch is what makes you so emotional. It makes you start thinking like, now you just grabbing out of thin air. You're trying to figure out like, I got to get this figured out. I don't care how I solve it. It just got to get done. So that's one of the main things, especially when you are in certain situations. It don't even be the situation. It be that time frame that's adding more pressure to the situation. The fact that you do not have a solution and you press for time, oh baby, that is recipe for an emotional disaster. And that's exactly what I was going through. So at that time, my emotions running high. I don't know how I'm going to figure it out. But the first thing I did was pull from an emotional standpoint. So I'll never forget, my credit was shot. Y'all, my credit was not the best. I knew that, okay? And also, I knew that my credit cards were maxed out. But because I was thinking from an emotional standpoint, the first thing I was thinking was go apply for a loan or a credit card, and maybe that'll help you get out of this financial situation. Now, honestly, thinking from a logical standpoint, that was the stupidest thing I could have ever thought or done. But because I was not thinking logically at the time, I was using my emotions. That was the first thing I did. Again, looking at the situation from a logical standpoint, my credit card is maxed out, but I'm still thinking like I'm going to go apply for a loan and some way, somehow these people are going to approve it. Absolutely not. Of course, reality set in. I went and applied, got denied. I mean, what else were you thinking? 2 plus 2 is 4. It wasn't no way you thought you was finna add that up and get 8. Sorry to break it to you, but that's literally what happens when you are coming at situations from an emotional standpoint. You are going to add up and the math ain't gonna be mathing, okay? So that's what ended up happening, and it didn't work out. And not only did it not work out, but I was forced to get out of my emotions to find a logical solution. And so that's why I say the first thing you need to do when you are trying to think yourself out of difficulty, you have to regulate your emotions. Do not go in it emotionally, because you're gonna dig a deeper hole. Because what did that do for me personally? When I went and applied for those loans and those credit cards, knowing I was not going to get approved, that hurt my credit score even more than what it was. It was already hurting, and me doing that just made that situation worse, and it dug a deeper hole for me on my credit side. So not only am I dealing with my finances, but I'm also my credit shot, and I'm messing it up even more because I'm trying to think emotionally instead of logically. So I just use that as an example to help you understand. First and foremost, don't try to think from an emotional standpoint, because it is going to dig you in a deeper hole. Logic is needed. Now that brings me to my next point. How do you come at a situation that it's already stressing you out? It's the only thing that you could think about. How do you come at it without being in your emotions? So the next thing that you can do is literally put the situation down. Put it down. If you feel like I'm already head over heels in my emotions, you might have cried about it, screamed about it, prayed about it, got angry about it, cussed somebody out about it. You might have went through every emotion that you could possibly go through, and you still have not come up with a logical solution. That means it's time to lay the situation down until you can revisit it from a better headspace. Now, don't get me wrong. When you are in times of need or difficult times, it is so hard to just lay a situation down and go about your day. Trust me, I know that's the hardest thing you can do, because you got to think about it. I'm already in difficult times. That's the only thing I could think about. Maybe I don't care about work. I don't care about, baby, the school schedule. I don't care about nothing. The only thing that's on my mind right now is this difficult time. That's it. So to tell me that I need to forget about it, just lay it down for a second, you're not even thinking logically. But like I say, I'm literally speaking from experience. I'm not just telling you fluff. I'm telling you things that I've had to experience in life that I know for a fact actually works. You have to put the situation down. Now, what does that look like? If I'm telling you, you got to lay a situation down until you're able to get out of your emotions about it, that looks like if you have a problem and the only thing on your mind is that problem, but you know you got a full schedule. You got to go to work. You got to take the kids to school. You still got to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's a lot of things that you are already obligated to do. Go do that. A lot of times what we tend to do when we are in trying times and we are in challenging times, we tend to try to put everything to the side just so we can focus on the problem. You don't got a solution. What are you focusing on the problem for? That's the worst thing you could do, because guess what? When you neglect all of your obligations and you focus on this problem solely, the first thing you are going to do is create more problems. Now, instead of you going to work, you done called off a couple of days because you have not found a solution to your problem. Now, guess what? You created another problem. Now your job is at risk because your attendance is now fluctuating. You ain't on the people job how you're supposed to be. You probably was already on your second to third strike, and you just making it worse because difficulty came about and you're trying to focus on solving that difficulty to the point you are neglecting every other part of your life. No. The main way to lay down your emotions about difficulty is to continue to do the things that you would have been doing in your day-to-day life as if that problem was not present. That's it. That's it. That's gold, baby. Like you literally have to. So again, if you had to go to work and show up as your best self. Literally, you have to act like the problem isn't there. You got to. Go to work, take the kids to school. When they get out from school, pick them up with a good attitude. Help them with their homework. Cook the food. Do the things that you had to do. If you plan on going to the gym, go to the gym, because you know we love to do that. When we are finding ourselves in hard times, baby, the first thing that go out the window is that gym schedule. Baby, I'm not going to the gym today. I got to pay bills. And I ain't got the money. Like, trust me, I know, baby, I am human. One thing about me, I am real as real gets. And I understand. So that's one of the main things. You gotta move as if the problem is not there. And what happens when you move as if the problem is not there is when solutions come. Solutions don't come when you are chasing them. Solutions will chase you when you're not even thinking about it. Baby, I can't let this worry me. If I come at the situation and I'm trying to find a solution, and I'm so emotional to the point, every solution that I done sat and laid on the table is the stupidest thing I could think of, then I need to lay it down for a second. I'll come back. Now, the reason why I say lay it down for a second and not avoid it, okay, hear me clear. Do not avoid your problems. Avoiding your problems will deepen your problems. So I'm not giving you guidance to avoid your problems altogether, but sometimes you do have to put something down and revisit it when you are in a better headspace. So once you go about your day and you do the things that you need to do, you will literally realize by the time you completed your whole to-do list, now you got time to think, okay? Of course, you got time to think. The first thing you finna think of is that problem. And you probably was thinking about it while you went to work. You probably thought about it while you was at the gym. You probably thought about it while you were helping the kids. But you were still producing regardless of what's on your mental. That's the key. Like, that's literally the key to life. You got to show up regardless of your mood. You got to show up regardless of what's going on, what outside forces are trying to come up against you. You got to literally continue to produce and continue to show up as if none of this stuff is there, because that's the way to remedy the problem and make it to where it's no longer there. Once you come back to yourself and now you actually have the time, everything is done that needs to be done, you have the time to think about it, sit back down, revisit the problem, write out all of the solutions that you can think of at this point in time. Just write them out. And then when you write out every solution that you could think of right now in the moment, because you are in a clear headspace, it may actually be some better solutions than what you had earlier or previously when you were too emotional to even think. Look over those new solutions. Look over the options that you have and weigh them. And literally weigh them with sincerity and weigh them with honesty. Don't just, again, emotionally, you are going to think of stupid things, but logically, you will think of options. Now, will they be easy? Probably not. But will they be the best case scenario? More than likely. So look at your options, weigh your options. What will be the consequences? What do I need to put in for this option to work out? Think about it all. Because I will tell you, I had a similar situation to the one that I just described. And at this point in time, when I had a similar situation, I found myself, it wasn't the same problem, but it was close enough to where I'm like, okay, I cannot do what I did last time. And that's another thing. Learn from your mistakes. You cannot keep beating the hell out of a dead horse and thinking it's going to come alive. I don't care if you did it 10 years ago or present. Regardless of what, learn from your experiences. So when I found myself in a similar situation later on down the line, I realized I cannot do what I did before because I'm going to only get the results that I got before. So I did exactly what I told y'all to do. I was emotional, but it's like when you experience things in life, you start to grow and you start to realize I can't keep crying about it, baby. I got to figure this out. So at this point, when the situation came back around in a different format, I realized the emotions got to go out the window. You're an adult. All that I'm just a girl stuff, yeah, it's all cute until you realize nobody coming to save you. So you just being a girl need to get up and figure it out. So as I get older, the emotions get shorter. All that crying about stuff, you got 2 minutes to cry about it, if that. I don't even play like that. So the emotions weren't as heavy as it was previously because now I'm experienced. Now I'm seasoned. It was easy for me to lay down my emotions. Again, I already went through this. The next thing I had to do was continue to move on as if the problem wasn't there. everything that I had to do for the day, for that time period, for the duration of that problem, everything that I had already had to do, I continued to do it. Everything. I did my day-to-day schedule. I lived my life as if that problem was not there. And what happened was, after I finished doing my daily tasks and everything that I needed to do, and it was time for me to, unwind. I'm home, I'm getting comfortable, showered, everything, and I can actually sit with the problem from a, clear headspace. The solutions that I got were amazing. Like amazing. And I'll tell you a few of the solutions. Like the first thing I thought, and this is good, the first thing that I thought was use what you got. And I'll tie this back to biblical practices, okay? Baby, listen, God done did some things in my life to where I could never not give him the glory or, tie myself to the practices that I've learned or been raised up on. So the first thing I thought was use what you got. When you think about all the stories in the Bibles, when God blessed a lot of different people, he used what they had. He did not go out or demand that they go out and find different things. When he fed the masses, that little boy had that lunch. The story about the lady when she had the oil and he made her go out and collect all the cans, and then when he was pouring the oil, she had overflow. That lady used what she had. What are some other stories? Slaying of Goliath. That boy had that rock and that slingshot, baby. These are the things that they already had. So I realize when you are in difficult situations, God is never going to demand you to just, go out and try to find these external resources. He's going to always use what you got. So when I found myself in this situation for the second time or the next time around, I realized I got to use what I got. I got to use what's in my house. What's in your house? And at that time, I had different digital products that I had. I had different services that I offered. And if you are young in your faith, you would think that I'm not getting booked for these services because, nobody's paying attention. When realistically, I wasn't getting booked for them services because I wasn't marketing those services. I wasn't pushing those services. When you are doing certain things, especially when you are an entrepreneur, you got to be pushing your stuff like crack in the 80s. I don't care what nobody say, baby. You can't expect me to want to get a service I know nothing about. And just because you posted about this service 2 months ago, that does not mean people still remember that you are the person that provides this service. And that also does not, like, the people that may not have been in need those 2 months ago when you posted about your service, present day, they might actually need you. So that was a lesson in itself, and it taught me you cannot sit up there and just think because you post about your business one time or your services one time that you're going to always be booked. No, you got to constantly put it in their face. And so when I was looking over my problem and I was thinking of solutions, the first thing I thought, again, was use what you got. And then that made me go into deep analysis of what do I have? And that brought me to the services that I offer. Because, again, if I'm already in a financial bind, I don't really have the resources to go out and try to, invest in a class and invest in a course. If I wanted to do DoorDash, baby, you ain't got the gas money. You get what I'm saying? Like, certain things would not be ideal. But the services that I offered, I didn't need nothing but knowledge and my social media platforms. And I had that. So when I was able to think that stuff through, I realized, okay, this might be my entryway. And I was not scared. Baby, my back was up against the wall. And when your back up against the wall, you will come out swinging. Baby, if you anything like me, you gonna fight like your life depend on it. So at that time, I was not scared. Baby, I don't care how it looks. I am in need, and I'm going to get my need met. So I went on my social media platforms, and I marketed the services all day. Baby, every platform that I had, I posted about the services. And God is such a faithful God. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Like, he's such a girl dad too. Like, sorry to my men, but God is such a girl dad. And he is always going to bless you when he see you trying. Faith without works is literally dead. And so when I posted about those services, I kid you not, by the end of that day, I had more than I needed. And that is how God works. That is just a testament to my faith. And that's just a true testimony. I used what I had. But just to tie me back to, the main thing of the main name of the game, When you are trying to think yourself out of difficult situations and your back is up against the wall, you cannot think emotionally. You got to put your emotions to the side. In order to put your emotions to the side, you just have to go on as if the problem is not present. Once you go on as if the problem is not present, you do the things that you were already supposed to do. Once you are finished doing everything you're supposed to do, revisit the problem. What new solutions do you have? What new options do you have? Once you have these options, analyze them. What we need to carry this stuff out. And when you are thinking of those options, the first thing you need to consider is using what you got. Do not try to think about outside or external things. What do you have? Because God is going to always solve your problems with what you have. You are always going to get the solution to your problems with what you have. I'm big on that. I cannot reiterate that enough. What do you have? That's how you're going to come up with the options that are even available to you. What you got? And so once you consider what you have, those are your options, you weigh your options and you move. That's the next point. Move on it. You cannot think that you're going to cry your way out of a situation. You cannot think that you're going to think your way out of a situation. The only way to get out of a situation is to produce. You got to do, you got to go, you got to get the ball rolling. Can't be scared. And so that's literally what I did. When I put myself out there, I marketed my services, I told the people about it. That's how I was able to remedy my problem. And you can literally use my testimony and my experience and tie it to whatever you are going through currently. Trust me, it works for anything that you are going through. I know life can be hard, it can be difficult, but that is how you are going to literally think your way out of difficulty. Again, it is possible, it is doable. Yes, it is hard, but again, it is doable. And that last part is very important. Make sure you do. Don't just get all the way to the end of the process, because it can be easy for you to think about all your options, weigh all your options, and then when it's time to act on your options, you are just scared to death. Baby, you want it or not. You trying to get a solution to your problems or not. You trying to get over this hurdle or not. And that's ultimately what is going to come down to how bad you want it. If you want to stay stuck, then, just go lay down and cry and let your problem worsen and let your problem deepen. But when you really want to find a solution or, find that success point, you got to have that dog in you. You got to have that dog in you, and you just got to do, and you got to produce, and you can't be scared, and you can't let fear stop you. You can't let, I honestly feel like your back being up against the wall is the best thing that could ever happen to you, especially in times of trouble. That's the best thing that can happen to you. Think about every situation that you've been in where your back was up against the wall. I bet after you got out of your emotions, after you cried about it, after you, went through every stage of emotional whirlwinds, you were able to finally find a solution. Once you look at the situation in hindsight, you realize, dang, not only did that problem grew me as a person, it made me realize what's really deep down, what's in me, and how much I could just change my situation, And I feel like, me personally, that brings me to every issue I've ever had in my life where I couldn't call nobody and I had to figure it out. And it wasn't nobody but me and God. Those were the situations where I grew. The times where people came through and helped me, yes, I was grateful. Don't get me wrong. But those situations did not grow me as a person at all. If anything, those things hindered me. And again, I'm forever thankful for every situation that I was able to, somebody bailed me out of. But when I compare the situations that I had to figure out versus somebody else figured out for me, I can honestly say I grew tremendously from the ones that I had to figure out. Back against the wall, gotta come out swinging. It's like I'm in the forest with a bear. Help the bear, okay? Help the bear. I'm not playing. But yeah, I just feel like somebody definitely need this word. Somebody may be in a difficult time. Somebody may be in a hard time. And you might even be in a time where you feel like, I am so sick of this. I'm sick of this cycle. I'm sick of repeating this problem. I'm sick of getting out of it and finding my way back in it. Honestly, just like the book say, success. You are going to find the cause of success when you find yourself in unusual emergencies, when you find yourself facing adversity, when you find yourself in the most difficult decisions or the most difficult times of your life, to the point the only thing you can do is change your habits. That's key. Change your habits and think your way out of difficulty. And don't forget to change your habits, because that's another thing. You don't change your habits, you will be right back in that situation. Yes, you may grow. Yes, you may get better. Yes, you may figure it out. But you will be back if your habits don't change. And don't ask me how I know. But honestly, I just want to strengthen somebody in their faith. I want to give somebody courage in a difficult and a trying time. You got this. You have more in you than you could possibly think or imagine. And right now, you need to lay your emotions aside, because, again, your emotions are not going to help you. You grown. Get up out of it. You got to get up out of it. But understand that it is possible. As hard as it may be, as difficult as it may be, as frustrating as it may be, you gonna come up out of it. So yeah, and I will definitely be sharing more quotes from this book with you all, because I just love this book. And I actually have some more really amazing books that I'm gonna probably make it a series, to where I just pull from those books and, tie in testimonies, my experiences, give you encouragement, and just really speak life into you all, because girl, let's heal. I will see you all on the next episode. If you haven't already, I would like for you to like, comment, subscribe, drop comments. If this helped you, if this resonated with you, if you felt like, girl, I needed this, let me know. Like, I be needing that push sometimes too. Like, I give to y'all, but give to me, please. And the only way you can give to me is literally just affirmations. Just, girl, I needed that. That's all I need. A quick like, comment, share, and baby, I needed this. And my heart is warm, okay? But yeah, I will see y'all in the next episode. Again, girl, let's heal.